Hello, and welcome to the first episode of In Plain Sight, where corruption happens in plain sight. Okay, so I've chosen the first topic to be climate change. I believe climate change is the most important issue that we need to solve as a species in order to preserve our species. And I know you're thinking like, damn, that's a little extra, but the reality is that this is a problem that we need to face all together and as fast as possible, or the repercussions are and will be and already are deadly. And I'm here to show you why. Okay, so what is climate change? Climate change is the terminology and the word that we use to describe our climate changing either regional or worldwide because of the increased production of greenhouse gases, specifically CO2. Production of greenhouse gases is 24/7, and that is because of our need of energy. Now with the rising technology, we need energy at all times, every single second of the day. From when we go to work and we turn on our car, that's energy, to when we go to sleep and we leave our phone charging overnight, that's energy. The amount of energy consumption never stops. Thus, the amount of carbon dioxide production never stops. So this saturation of carbon dioxide has literally concentrated around our entire globe. So it's just this humongous bubble of carbon dioxide and other deadlier greenhouse gases that are trapping the sun's UV rays and are trapping the sun's heat. So we're creating this blanket over the entire earth that is just hot. So the earth's global temperature has risen by 1 Celsius since the Industrial Revolution. Now you might think that this 1 Celsius is something small, but it has changed absolutely everything. From the weather that you experience at home to big patterns such as the amount of tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, and other natural disasters. So I think the best example for this is air pollution. Air pollution just shows how much carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases are actually in our environment, to the point where it just blocks our visibility. One of the two nations that are the best and worst examples of air pollution are China and India. They have some of the most polluted cities in the world. Now China's main industry is the steel industry. So the steel industry is practically the main source of economy, but at the same time it produces so much carbon dioxide that it is killing the people. As it shows, 1 million people are dying every single year, and they're losing 267 billion yen every single year. So a million lives are lost, a bunch of money is lost because of India. Also has problems because it is estimated that about 100,000 children under the age of 5 die because of air pollution. So the cities are so bad that children can't literally sustain that type of damage to their immune system, so they end up passing away. So all this carbon dioxide in the air is literally messing up our visibility and our overall comfortability of life. But it's not only doing that, it's making the world hotter. And then because of this, Bill Nye say it,
is the planet's on fucking fire.
Because of this, we're having more natural disasters such as hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, floods, and we're losing billions and billions and billions of dollars. Okay, so one of the main things that happens because our earth is getting hotter is that we have a change in jet streams. So jet streams are literally the winds that are flying in our stratosphere, so there's nothing blocking them, and then they just control the natural wind patterns of the entire universe. Okay, so it kind of works like this. So you have the big earth, big earth, then you have the equator. You have two main drifts, jet streams. You got the
subtropical jet stream,
and then you got the polar jet stream, which flows towards the polar, the
subtropical jet stream
towards the equator. So this air is hot, it goes up, hot air rises. We all know that. Boom, 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 boom. But as the earth is rotating, it turns it to the right. So as it's turning to the right, it literally goes up, and then it goes down, and it's not necessarily just symmetrical. There's multiple jet streams. One big one over here. There's maybe a little small one over here, but mainly there are huge wind patterns that control the entire Earth, as you can see in this picture. Okay, so what happened? Okay, so this is how jet streams work. You got the jet stream, and it's going down, and then it goes up and makes a wave. Everything inside the wave is going to be cold because it's coming from cold temperatures in the north, and they're pocketed in this area. Now everything that's underneath the wave over here or over here is going to be hot. So if we look at this map right here of the United States, you can see that everything in that circle, like I was telling you, it's cold and everything. Basically, Florida is just hot. So that's why Chicago reached some temperatures of negative 60 degrees this in 2018. And Florida reached some of its hottest temperatures, 103 degrees, a couple months ago in Gainesville. So you see, now it's like, oh, but doesn't this just naturally happen? Okay, but since the whole world is getting hotter, we're having less pressure differences. Because the cold air in the north is basically not that cold, and the hot air over here has always been hot. So you're over here getting less pressure because there's less differences in temperature. Now, how does that affect the whole system? It makes the whole system move slower. If there's less pressure, the wind patterns that are happening throughout the entire world are going to be slower. So the temperatures that you experience in Chicago, which are cold, are going to stay colder longer because they're inside that bubble. And temperatures like Florida, it's always going to be hot, but sometimes it gets kind of chilly, but it's really just hot. So what's really going on even more? What is really going on even more is that is just building on top of the other natural disasters that are happening even more because of climate change. Okay, so because the overall earth is getting hotter, that means that we're having more precipitation. So the earth is just booming us with heat, and then all the air, all the water that's in the environment is just going up, causing more precipitation. This causes for heavier thunderstorms. This causes for more tornadoes, and this causes for more rain. This rain in the north and these areas of the Midwest of the United States are already like in sheets of ice because it's so cold. So it's getting flooded with even more water that creates even more cold temperatures, and then this water is just getting accumulated somewhere, and then it's causing more floods. As you can see in the Missouri River has literally quadrupled in water because of this simple addition of climate disasters. One, and then two, and then they beat it up, and then you make the whole world's getting hotter. And because the whole world's getting hotter, everything is messing up. Like Australia is reaching record-breaking temperatures every single year, to the point where 1/3 of the species of bats died last year because it was too hot. So bats be flying, right? Then they hit the water. And then when they hit the water, then that's how they cool off. But it's just so hot that 15,000 bats died one day last year. That is, it's just way too hot to even live. Now, temperatures are getting hot everywhere, even in the Arctic. Arctic is experiencing temperatures that are 30 to 50 degrees higher. Now, this changes everything because this is the area that should not get hot. So the fact that it's getting hotter is completely changing the environment 180 degrees. So you got the ice caps, right? Icebergs, they're melting, and all the ice caps are melting because it is just 30 to 50 degrees hotter. Like, it is just way too hot. So what does that lead? To the sea levels rising, to the overall temperature, the whole world to get hotter. Because guess what? No. Literally, water vapor is also a greenhouse gas because it traps heat. That's what it does. So it's technically considered a greenhouse gas. So you're getting way more precipitation. So that means that specific area of the Arctic is getting hotter because it's releasing all this water vapor in the air. So it's just fucking up on each other. Like, it's just getting crazy. So a lot of stuff are affecting the Arctic, which is changing the whole world, such as our air currents are getting even slower because of that, and leading to a lot more problems. So what are some of the positives? To look at the positives, we'll go back to China and India because the air pollution and overall effects of climate change have gotten so bad that they just need to do something about it. Okay, so because of China and India, we are the most forested that we have ever been in
2 decades.
And that is because of China's grassroots movement to just plant trees. They just went out there and real planting trees absolutely everywhere. And then India relies heavily on agriculture, so it's just naturally a green area. So much that it created this part in the world that you can see from space that is almost as big as the rainforest. So this area, they call it the lungs of the east, produces as much oxygen and removes as much carbon dioxide from the environment as the Amazon rainforest. So this has really, just the human just the human productivity to plant trees has made a real impact in the world. And just as it has negatively, it could do it positively. Okay, so in 2014, China started its war on pollution. And in this war on pollution, it tackled the steel industry and other manufacturers, and it set caps and limits on the amount of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases that they were able to exude into the environment. Now, in the last 5 years, this has made a humongous difference as the amount of carbon dioxide overall has decreased by 36%. Now, this is a humongous change and difference and good. But one of the things that happened is that economic growth fell to its lowest rate since 1990. Like, you know, it came at a price to the point where in 2019 some of the regulations were set back a little bit, and then in the first 4 months it experienced some of its worst air pollution in years, and the amount of concentration of greenhouse gases increased by 7%. India is the first country to try an economic approach on handling air pollution and overall global warming in general. So it is offering companies the ability to buy and sell what their cap is on the amount of pollutants that they are able to exude in the environment. Now, you know, it's like if you're a company that cares about the environment, then you are going to benefit because you're not releasing that much carbon dioxide into the environment, and you can sell that. You know, you can sell that efficiency. Now, if you're a company that produces a lot, then you're going to have to buy some of that. And it overall keeps the entire cap, and it is the cheapest way to handle it from a government standpoint and from an industry standpoint, is what they say. The truth is, in the United States, you know, these problems are affecting us every single day and are affecting our entire nation. So it's either we tackle it or not, we tackle it together. But the problem is that some of our biggest contributors to climate change, such as the coal industry and the meat industry and these other industries, are just so big that they are slowing down our progression. And that is for episode 2 of In Plain Sight, where corruption happens in plain sight, climate change part 2. Yeah, thanks for coming. You know, like, subscribe, share. Yeah.